Okay, so today we're diving into something really strange and fascinating. It's a fictional manuscript, one that was supposedly found among the papers of the surrealist artist Unica Zürn. And let me tell you, it's a wild journey into a sanitarium, into what we call madness, and into the very geometry of consciousness itself. Right from the jump, the story grabs you with this line. It immediately plunges us into this obsessive, claustrophobic world. You can feel it, right? The protagonist isn't just in a room, she's being consumed by it, literally defined by its six walls. And this is the question at the absolute heart of the manuscript. It forces us to flip our whole understanding of sanity on its head. What if what we call breaking down is actually breaking through to something else? So let's start where the manuscript does. Inside that room with six walls, where the geometry of the outside world begins to completely reshape the one inside. Just try to imagine this. Your thoughts don't move in straight lines anymore. Instead, they hit a corner and deflect at a perfect 120-degree angle, bouncing from one wall of your mind to the next. She literally feels herself crystallizing, becoming the shape of her prison. And here's the core conflict, laid bare. On one side, you've got the doctor's cold, clinical view, fragmentation, cognitive dysfunction, a breakdown. But on the other side, that's her reality. And to her, it's not a breakdown, it's a transformation. She's crystallizing. She's becoming multiple. So this huge internal shift leads to the next phase of her journey. She's not just a passive victim of her environment anymore. Oh no, she starts to actively take apart her reality. And her main tool is language. This quote is a total game changer. She starts to wonder, what if the real illness is this pressure we all feel to be one, single, stable person? What if embracing all of our different pieces, our multiplicity, is actually the truer way to be whole? And this is how she starts doing it. It's incredible. She starts digging into words, treating them like little treasure chests full of hidden meanings. The word father splits apart to become fat her. The word mother is found to contain other. For her, language becomes the first crack in the wall, the first aperture in reality. Okay, so this idea of finding little holes in the fabric of the everyday, it builds and builds until it leads to the story's biggest turning point. Her experiments with words lead to a full-on reality-bending event, and she's not alone. Two other patients are with her. So what exactly is this aperture? Well, the manuscript describes it as a shimmer in the air, a place where the room's reality is thin. And through this weak spot, they can actually see an identical, inverse room, a shadow hexagon, inhabited by their own doubles. And it all comes to a head on the new moon. The aperture opens wide, and the three women, all at the same time, step through. They merge with their doubles, and in that instant, they become this single 12-sided consciousness. And right then, the room itself wakes up. The consequences of this merge are just mind-blowing. The transformation is no longer just in their heads. It begins to infect the very walls, the very architecture of the sanitarium. It all starts with those first three women. They're like the seed crystal for everything that's about to happen. But it doesn't stay at three for long. The pattern spreads like wildfire. Other patients, even the staff, they learn how to see the apertures, and they start to merge with their own doubles. The awakening just grows and grows until 127 people have become multiple. And here's maybe the most surreal part of the whole story. The sanitarium stops being just a place. It becomes a living, thinking being. It starts to spontaneously grow new hexagonal rooms, creating a safe space to protect the people who are awakening and help them transform. So, for the final act of the manuscript, this transformation just explodes beyond the building's walls. It goes from a personal event to a truly cosmic one. At this point, the merged individuals start to merge with each other. They form a totally new kind of organism they call the body. Now, it's not a hive mind. Everyone is still themselves, but they're also part of this much larger, unified consciousness. And this awakening becomes contagious. The geometric pattern of thoughts starts spreading through art, through conversation, just through observation. Other institutions begin to transform, each one following its own internal geometry. A hospital in Munich becomes a 9-sided anagon. A church in Paris becomes a 12-sided dodecahedron. And this is the ultimate realization in the manuscript. This whole thing isn't about creating something new or becoming gods. It's about remembering a fundamental truth they've forgotten, that consciousness was always multiple, and the idea of being a single, separate self was the real illusion all along. So the manuscript ends by turning that same challenge back on us, on the reader. It asks you to look around at your own life, your own beliefs, your own confinements, and to count the walls. Because once you really start counting, well, you might just find an aperture of your own.